got
here here. Share. Does this works?
Yes.
Let me see, because somehow I can't see. So yes.
Yes.
So my name is Maja, and I'm a theater director from former Yugoslavia, and I will be talking about the project that it's a whole project in northern Bosnia. It's about peace building and theater, and for the last 10 years, so somehow, unfortunately, all that Alina and Alex were saying, you know, it's so recognizable, and this is kind of a next phase of wars. So for the last 10 years, I was working in northern Bosnia. So can you see the PowerPoint, because I can't see what we see? Yeah. So I was working in northern Bosnia. So that's a Prijedor area, which was unfortunately infamous for concentration camps, mass graves, and rape camps and atrocities. All these images that in the 90s showed Europe were coming from there. So our war started in 1990s. Bosnian war started in 1992 and lasted until 1995. And actually all the wars ended up around 2009, at least armed conflicts. But the conflicts are not over yet. However, what is important about this area where I worked is that because the war, the breakup of Yugoslavia was deeply rooted in memory wars. So it was the memory, and the past memory was really used to kind of sparkle the conflict. And was very integral part of the conflict, how you kind of shift and transfer histories. So that's something that I would be talking later on through my work with second generations. So this part of Bosnia at the moment, you have 30 people that already have been convicted at international court for International Crime Tribunal for genocide and crimes against humanity. So 30 people from that area already are serving the sentence. However, in the area, most of the people are still denying the atrocities that happened, and actually conflict. And some of them, some of the politicians as well as population thinks that Karadzic and Mladic, who are sentenced, are actually war heroes and not war criminals. And that's and that the genocide that was committed against the non-Serb population was either exaggerated, ignored, or denied. And this is the situation that that is still going on, and that is passed from generation to generation. And that is why the reconciliation process is really kind of difficult. So where is this? No, not here. Sorry. Does this in? Yes. So reconciliation. So this memory war that was kind of embedded in our conflict is not over at all. So it is continued. It is continued even today through this kind of fake kind of histories that are history books that are modified, that are forged. It also through then. So you could have like. Because schools are segregated, so in the different schools you would learn about the same event, but through completely different narratives, and sometimes very opposing narratives. And then through films, through theater, through literature, and also through this fight around allowed memorials and memorializations that are ongoing, this memory war is continuing. So, and also reconciliation is understood as a complex long-term process of reshaping and rebuilding these non-violent social, political, legal, economic, and cultural relationship between the former enemies. However, in order for reconciliation to happen, these new collective memories need to be formed. And that's why this kind of sharing narrative of the past events is very important to be created. And also for the stereotypes that were formed about opponents of the conflict, and this dehumanization of the rival group that has to happen in order for anyone to have a war, and also one-sided glorification of your own group. So all that needs to be questioned if we want reconciliation to start, the process of reconciliation to start, and this kind of shared narrative to be created. However, this is not easy, because also this shared narrative can't be imposed upon any group, because then this will be used as a kind of munition to keep the conflict going on. Also, this kind of multiple narratives need to be acknowledged, and that's why the dialogue is very important. So here comes theater those are just nice images of the projects with young people that I was doing over the past years. So theater is something that comes because theater has conflict in its core. And also, if we understand conflict as a normal human relationship, but and also conflict as a kind of engine for change and progress, but then conflict that's not violent, and conflict that's not armed conflict. So this is where peace building and theater could come together, because theater offers multiple perspectives, open dialogue, and open questions, and understands conflict as an important part of our existence, but then also kind of goes away from art conflicts. But also in a post-war kind of theater project, war and post-war theater projects, theater was understood as a space where you can negotiate various voices that participate in the conflict, but also you can, it could offer, as you already mentioned, it could offer a lot of comfort, and also it could deal with the trauma, and it could also kind of open this conversation and be space for kind of shifts of understanding of the conflict. So the projects that I did in Bosnia was based, I would devise a piece of theater with around 24 young people that are born after the war, but the war was integrated in their upbringing. And the project was based on 3 main points. One, that it has to be devised. So we didn't start from any text, and that was crucial, because I didn't want to put anyone's ideas in young people's mouth. So we would start just from a single word, and through improvisations and devising collaborative way of working, we would create a full length theater piece. And comedy was defined as a genre of our future piece. And that was something that I actually brought by accident into the thing when I was working with migrants and refugees in London, because I kind of thought we don't want to tell our refugee story all over again, because we know it, and it kind of become your only identity. So when I did the project, I just pick up Moliere's Hypochondriac, we stage it, and then the comedy, the power of comedy by accident was discovered. So when I was doing this, I on purpose chose comedy as a genre to see what kind of power it could bring, because comedy is inviting. So it invited young people from both sides, from communities that usually wouldn't meet, also in invited audience, because with peace building contexts, a lot of times people are like, oh, I don't want anyone to tell me what happened. I know what happened. I had enough of war stories. So no one wants to come and participate, and everyone lives in their segregated communities. So comedy is something that is very inviting because no one is going to talk about trauma. But however, comedy is very critical, and comedy can really, which I will talk briefly, kind of bring this sharp questioning of our of taboos as well as kind of set ways. And also it offers hopeful politics, because comedy has happy ending, and then it does offer hope. And that's something that I think it's crucial for the peace building and for kind of talks about past events that were very traumatic, because over all these years, people are tired of misery and misfortune that lasted for 3 decades almost. So no one wants to talk anymore about the past, but the comedy actually offers a kind of hopeful action. And so, sorry, I'm deviating. So humor is also a source of social information about the norms that govern the culture and inhabitants. And it is also, it's produced by disjunction between the things are and the things are represented in the joke. So, and then somehow we start seeing ordinary, extraordinary. And those were the kind of powerful reasons that we use comedy. So first year, our word was voice, where we wanted to explore who has and who doesn't have voice in society. And then the second year, our word was mustaches, to explore the patriarchy in connection to wars and post-war reconciliation. And third year, we explored memory, questioning how do we remember things. And fourth year, our word was land or earth, zemlja, which in our language means earth as well as globe as well as land. So then here I have some nice photos from some of the productions. And here you can see this young woman sitting as a soldier. That was when we did voice. I wanted that we kind of talk about who has and who doesn't have voice in society, especially because in Prijedor there is this huge silence around war crimes, so they didn't want to erect a memorial, and there is this day of white ribbons. But somehow when the devised collaborative piece led us into the no one, so throughout the process no one mentioned the war, so I didn't want to push them. But suddenly this young woman said, can we have a character of the soldier in play? And then the facilitators said no, because that could kind of stop the project and stuff, and it's too complicated to talk about. But then we had a character of a soldier, but she was just throughout the play silent. She was trying to tell the story, but no one had time to listen to her story. So her presence as an absence of voice was very strong until the end of the piece, when we ended the piece, when the unlucky man, the main character in the play, said, okay, now I have time to listen to your story, and we went into blackout. So I would also say that the notion of comedy offered the safe space for all this conversation to happen. All this, and for all these young people who do come from various ethnic as well as family backgrounds, to kind of meet and reshape their identity. So us and them now wasn't based on religion or ethnicity or nationality, but us and them became us as a theater company that is having great time questioning society around us, and them is things that we criticize. So what was also evident throughout because when I was starting the project, I was like, is the comedy going to kind of dilute the importance of serious themes and subjects? But it didn't happen. So they really start developing and talking about important issues, which were from workers' rights to exploitation of labor to privatizations of the country, corruption that penetrated all the levels of society, as well as silence around the war crimes. So I would say that this notion of comedy offered that safe space for young people to start talking about that. And also because, and this is the quote, this comedy is the art of telling tragedy through laughter. That's the quote of one of our our participants. That's how he understood comedy. So this is something that the power of comedy was that we could still talk about tragical events and kind of serious things that were happening in society, but through this kind of more hopeful lens. But also what was important, that people who came to see the show. So those are the parents and the family of young people. Some of them were participating in a war in opposing sides, but they all kind of were sitting together, listening the criticism about the society, about all these other things in society, and they were laughing together. And that was something that in a context of reconciliation was very important. And for young people, some of them are coming from also pretty nationalistic families. Some of them are not going to change their beliefs. However, what they would question is this kind of stereotyping of that is present, because they had this kind of immediate contacts with someone from the other group. So I'm also proposing comedy as a genre of memorializations. So how do we, because when we are thinking about what kind of stories do we tell in order to deal with the trauma, the question is what we want, in which genre do we tell them, what we want from our audience. Do we want to pass trauma, to prompt revenge, or do we want to open up the complex conversation of hopeful future? So that's something that and that goes with Asman and Short. So two of them, they said that change the story and the identity of collective will changes. It is true, of course, that the events of the past cannot be changed, but our perception narratives, our memory construction of these events can. So that's when this kind of hopeful idea of the hopeful narrative and complex narrative comes. And this, and also Prentkin, in beautiful book, The Role of Fools in European Theatre, says that getting life going on is one of the key social functions of the fool and tricksters, and that fool is the art is the art of survival, not of a tragedy. So this survival mechanism that the comedy and fooling around brings is something that I propose as an additional way of approaching peace building, especially in situations when the conflict over narrative is so strong that sometimes people just don't want to talk about it. So yeah, that is my, I'm really sorry. This is just some very happy young people after the performance. And then, yeah, some more photos from our shows that I'm sharing, and I'll stop now and stop sharing screen. And yes.
Thank you so much, Maja.